Have you ever gone through your entire day as a mom, busy from the moment you wake up, meeting needs, solving problems, cleaning, cooking, showing up, and then at the end of the day, you sit down, look around, and wonder, why does this feel so unfulfilling? You've worked hard, you gave your time, you poured into your kids, but there's no clear result, no finish line, no recognition, just more to do tomorrow. And if you've ever felt like that, you are not alone. In fact, there is a simple shift you can make to instantly feel fulfilled in motherhood, even if nothing changes. Welcome to Conquer Mom Stress, the podcast that helps you stress less and enjoy motherhood more. If you've ever crawled into bed at night completely exhausted, but still feel like there's so much left to do, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Jill Gokul, and I believe that motherhood is meant to feel joyful, not exhausting. Together, we'll uncover what's really fueling your stress and give you the practical tools to conquer it so you can finally feel like the confident mom you were made to be. Also, if you have a specific question or issue you're stressing about, head over to jillgokul.com/ask to submit your question. And who knows, you might just be featured in an upcoming episode so you can get practical, real-world solutions to the exact challenges you're facing. Okay, real talk. When I quit work to be a stay-at-home mom, I had a hard time adjusting. I went from climbing the corporate ladder and being celebrated for my daily efforts to feeling like no matter how hard I worked at home, it looked like I was failing. I would spend the day cleaning, cooking dinner from scratch, and spending pockets of time with my kids. And yet, the sink was full again, crumbs were back on the counter, toys were everywhere. And I just stood there thinking, I did so much today. Why does it look like I did nothing? And deeper than that, I wondered, why does this feel so meaningless? That's the part we don't talk about enough because you love your kids. You wouldn't trade being their mom for anything. But the feeling of fulfillment, it's not always there. Here's the problem. Motherhood feels unfulfilling because you are measuring your value based on visible results. That's it. The problem isn't that you're not doing enough, and it's not because you're doing the wrong things. It's because you've been trained by the world to believe your value comes from what you can see at the end of your work. And unfortunately for moms, that's just not how motherhood works. It's important to understand that your brain is wired for visible progress. There's something called the progress principle in psychology. Research shows that humans feel the most fulfilled and motivated when they can see progress, measure results, and complete tasks. This triggers dopamine, the reward chemical in your brain. That's why checking off a to-do list feels so good. Finishing a project feels satisfying. Achieving something gives you the sense of purpose. But motherhood? Oh man, it breaks this system completely. In motherhood, nothing is ever truly finished. Progress is invisible, results are delayed, and a lot of time, your work is completely undone by the end of the day. You clean the house, it gets messy again. You teach your kids how to act, they forget and repeat the behavior. You pour into your kids and don't always get positive feedback. So your brain doesn't get the signal that you did something meaningful. Instead, it gets the message that no matter how hard you work, you're failing. Think about this. You spend 45 minutes making dinner. Your kids eat for 10 minutes. Someone complains, the kitchen is a disaster, and now you have to clean it up. There's no achievement moment, no pause, no recognition. So your brain believes that didn't count. But it did count, just not in the way you can immediately see. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due time we shall reap our harvest if we do not give up." Okay, can this be the motto for mothers? This scripture is such a powerful way to look at life as a mom. So much so that we are going to break it down bit by bit. The verse starts out saying, "Do not grow weary." God knows you will feel tired and discouraged in this work of motherhood. He will give you the strength to keep going. Lean on Him and keep it up, mama. Next, it says doing good. So Do not grow weary doing good. Mama, your daily motherhood tasks are good work. The simple things like washing underwear, making breakfast, hugging your child when they get hurt, that is all good work. Every single effort you give, no matter how small it seems, is planting seeds in your child. Seeds that will grow your child into a happy, successful, thriving adult. Then it goes on to say, in due time. This is probably the hardest concept of the whole verse. We are in an instant gratification world. You put in the effort, you want it to produce immediate fruit, but that's not how things work. When a farmer plants seed, it doesn't bear fruit immediately. He plants the seeds, and even though there is no visible result, the farmer trusts that the seed is growing and his efforts are not in vain. As a mom, you are a farmer planting seeds in your child, in your home, in your marriage. Sometimes you don't see any visible proof that you've accomplished anything, but that doesn't mean the seed isn't growing. Next, the verse says, we shall reap our harvest. So in due time, you shall reap, Mama. There is a result. You just have to be patient for it to show up. Have you ever heard the saying, a watched pot never boils? Hello, that's the life you're living in motherhood. If you look for daily proof that you're accomplishing something, you'll be disappointed more often than not. But take heart. In due time, you shall reap a harvest. And finally, the most important part to remember from this verse, if we do not give up. The temptation is to believe your effort is pointless, and that feeling will rob you of any fulfillment faster than you can blink. The devil's going to try to make you feel like what you're doing doesn't matter in the hopes that you will give up. Give up trying, give up hope, and give up your joy in motherhood. But don't fall for his temptation. Understand that when you expect immediate results, you interpret delayed results as failure. So you feel like you're not doing enough. You lose motivation. You feel unfulfilled. But this scripture is correcting your timeline. Your work is not measured daily. It is measured over time. And if you don't give up, Mama, you will reap a harvest. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58 says, be steadfast, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. Not in vain means that nothing you do is wasted. But here's the key. You often feel like it's in vain because you don't see the results right away. When you believe your work is in vain, you disconnect emotionally. You feel drained. You stop experiencing joy. It feels like a classic case of mom burnout. But when you trust that it's not in vain, you keep showing up with purpose. You refuse to give up because you know that you're playing the long game. This is the key to finding fulfillment in the daily life of motherhood and stopping mom guilt for good. So listen, the solution is not doing more. It's learning how to see motherhood differently. See that it isn't a short game with instant results. Instead, it's a long game that takes time to produce results. Accepting this comes with understanding that child development takes years to happen, not days. Research in developmental psychology shows that children are shaped by repeated experiences and consistent presence, emotional attunement, and consistent emotional responses, and long-term patterns. This doesn't happen in one day or one moment. It happens over the course of thousands of small interactions. So your results don't show up immediately in a clean house or perfectly mannered kids. It shows up years later in confidence, resilience, and relationships. Remember, Mama, you are being formed in this time too. Motherhood isn't just about forming your child. It's about forming you as well. Patience, selflessness, resilience, trust in God. This is spiritual growth. And spiritual growth is always a long game. If you seek your fulfillment in the results of your effort every day, you're just going to see a mess. And it makes sense because your daily life is in the middle of creating a beautiful masterpiece in your child. Think of Bob Ross making a painting. He starts with a blank canvas. Then it's pure chaos. Layers, mistakes, smudges. But he never panics. Why? Because he understands the process. Motherhood is the same. You are in the middle of the painting, not the final reveal. So how can you switch your mind from looking for instant gratification of your efforts to finding fulfillment in the messy middle of motherhood? Here are 3 simple steps to reframing your mind. First, take a moment to journal what it would take for you to feel like a good mom. Write down 1 to 3 specific things that, if changed, would instantly give you a burst of fulfillment in your heart. Could it be a clean home? Having fun with your kids? Eating as a family more often? Whatever it is, write it down. This is going to be your new goal. Remember, only have 1 to 3 max. Next, decide on 1 small daily habit you can do to bring you closer to each of your goals. Maybe that could be washing dishes every night, keeping the dining room table cleared off so it can be used for meals, playing outside for 30 minutes with your kids after school, reading with your kids for 10 minutes while snuggled in bed. Whatever it is, make sure it's small and only 1 habit per goal, which means you should only have 1 to 3 small things to do each day that will bring you closer to feeling like a good mom again. And finally, put on your calendar a 1-month check-in. After a month has gone by, take a look at your effort. Do you see progress? Does your effort seem like it's produced even the tiniest of improvement? The results might not be drastic. In fact, they may barely be noticeable. But this check-in is just to assess if you're on the right path. When a farmer plants a seed of corn, he isn't rewarded with a fully grown stalk of corn a month later. At most, you'll only see the tiniest sprout popping up through the soil. That's what you're looking for in this monthly check-in. Do you see a tiny sprout from the seed you're planting in your daily habit? Are you happy with your effort? Assess whether the daily habit you've picked is bringing you fulfillment, or do you need to tweak it? Then wash, rinse, and repeat. That means in this monthly check-in, look back at your goals. Are these 1 to 3 things still something that makes you feel like a good mom? If not, switch it up. Are your daily habits sustainable? Are they bringing you closer to your goals? If they're not the right fit, guess what? You need to switch it up. Then set another check-in next month. This is how you do not grow weary in doing good. It's how you prevent yourself from giving up, so that in due time, you reap your harvest. St. Teresa of Calcutta once said, "God does not require that we be successful, only that we be faithful." Faithful in loving our children, faithful in showing up, faithful in doing the small acts that fill each day. And in that faithfulness, God will bring you fulfillment over time. So if today felt unfulfilling, let the mom guilt go. It doesn't mean that it was meaningless. It means you are in the middle of the masterpiece and you just can't see it yet. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Conquer Mom Stress. If today's conversation encouraged you, hit follow and leave a review. That lets me know that these episodes are hitting the topics you need. And while you're there, share this podcast with another mom who might need to hear it. Your thoughtfulness might just be what she needs to get through the day. Remember, this is your place to pause, rest, and start conquering mom stress, one small step at a time. Motherhood isn't meant to drain the life out of you. It's meant to be lived with joy, even on the messy days. And together, we're going to find that joy again.